What's up, everybody? Evan here for Grips.com, continuing with Project Get Me Stackin. Today's question is all about blockers and what in the heck blockers are. Very mysterious beasts they are, blockers. So, since blockers are an intermediate topic, this episode of Project Get Me Stackin is going to be twofold. Alright? First, we're going to introduce the concept of combinatorics. And don't get intimidated. The word may sound fancy, but the concept is pretty damn simple. And once we have combinatorics, that will then give you the foundation for understanding why blockers matter. So, let's go ahead and look at the question. Evan, I've been watching your win on 888, and you talk a lot about having blocker cards. I was wondering if you could expand on that a bit more and what you mean. I think I have an understanding, or I thought I had an understanding, but after watching the videos, I'm not so sure anymore. Thanks, Brian. And don't worry, I'm going to clear it all up. It's gonna be cool as a cucumber, as simple as, I don't have an analogy. I'm just going to get straight into the presentation because otherwise I'm going to look like a jerk. So just to forewarn you guys, my notations may look a little bit intimidating at first, but if you just listen along, you'll understand it very quickly and see that it's actually quite simple. So let's start with the key concept number one. What is a combination? A combination is a group of cards that makes a poker hand. Simple, right? So in No Limit Hold'em, a combination or combo consists of two cards, your first and your second, and this is unique cards, meaning, I don't mean it's a six, I mean it is the six of diamonds, the six of hearts. You have to include both the rank and suit when taking that element that makes your combination. And in Omaha, a combination consists of four cards. So you can see one reason why Omaha is infinitely more complicated than No Limit Hold'em. To get a bit more specific with this abstract concept and bring it down to earth, I'm going to show you how combinations give us the composition of a hand. It's a lot of C words, I know. If you don't know them, look them up in the dictionary, but I'm pretty sure anyone who's watching these videos knows what combination and composition means. So, pocket aces, a hand that everyone loves to see, and that some people know the odds of getting. If you don't, it's 220 to 1. But where do those odds come from? Well, in No Limit Hold'em, taking the 52 cards in play, there are 2,652 total hands. And of those 2,652 hands, 6 of the possible hands are pocket aces. The 6 ways to make pocket aces are ace of hearts, ace of diamonds, ace of hearts, ace of spades, ace of hearts, ace of clubs. Ace of diamonds, ace of spades, ace of diamonds, ace of clubs, ace of spades, ace of clubs. 6 unique ways to make pocket aces out of all the possible spectrum of hands, out of all the possible holdings. I hope you're still with me. Now, let's look at an unpaired hand, which is much easier to get dealt than a pair. Why? Because there are more ways to make unpaired hands. So, to make ace-king, another boss hand, there are 16 possible ways to do this. They are, let's see how fast I can do this. Ace of hearts, king of hearts, ace of hearts, king of diamonds, ace of hearts, king of spades, ace of hearts, king of clubs, ace of diamonds, king of hearts, ace of diamonds, king of diamonds, ace of diamonds, king of spades, ace of diamonds, king of clubs, ace of clubs, king of hearts, ace of clubs, king of diamonds, ace of clubs, king of spades, ace of clubs, ace king of clubs, ace of spades, king of hearts, ace of spades, king of diamonds, ace of spades, king of spades, ace of spades, king of clubs. Whew. Definitely not trying to say that 3 times fast. So, the reason there are so many more combos, well, we now have 8 cards that we're choosing from rather than just 4. And we only have to use one of each one once, whereas with the aces, once you've taken one out, you only have 3 cards to choose from for the second one. So it's drawing from 2 sources of 4 cards without replacement, rather than 1 source of 4 cards. All right. I'm getting too technical, so let's just keep moving forward. To make a suited hand, there are 4 combos. Pretty simple. Ace of hearts, king of hearts, ace of diamonds, king of diamonds, ace of clubs, king of clubs, ace of spades, king of spades. So, if you have an unpaired hand, you are 3 times more likely to have an offsuit hand than you are to have a suited hand. You're more likely to have a pair than a suited hand, and more likely to have an unpaired offsuit hand than a pair. Boom. Got it. So, this is great. We all know the odds of getting certain hands are now, but why is this important? Well, for you intermediate or advanced guys out there, you know that winning poker is all about hand reading and ranges. And combinatorics are the foundation for understanding and manipulating ranges. So, let's do a quick example. I've taken the top 3% of hands, to keep it simple, which is jacks or better, and ace-king, including both suited and offsuit. So the yellow hands I've highlighted are the hands in the range. The other ones are just there for decoration. So, you may have heard it before, but in this case, our opponent will have big slick more often than aces or kings, big slick more often than queens or jacks, but in total, he is going to have a pair, any of those 4 pairs, more often than he has ace-king. Let's look at why. So, in the top 3%, we have, as I said, aces, kings, queens, jacks, ace-king suited, and ace-king offsuit. And we have 40 combos in total in this range that we have. 6 ways to make aces, 6 ways to make kings, 6 ways to make queens, 6 ways to make jacks, 4 ways to make ace-king suited, and 12 ways to make ace-king offsuit. So, 24 combos of pairs, 16 combos of ace-king, for a total composition of 60% big pairs, 15 going to each pair, 40% big slick, 10% of which is the suited ones, and 30% of which is the offsuit ones. With me? If you're not, just go back 2 minutes, watch it again. You'll get it by the 2nd or 3rd time. I promise you. So again, it seems cool, but not all that useful. But this, now that we got combinatorics, this is where blockers come into play and change the game. Because if you happen to be holding, say, Queen Jack in your hand against this opponent who plays the top 3% of hands, now he doesn't have big pairs 60% of the time and big slick 40. In fact, now things have changed such that he has ace-king 47% of the time and big pairs 53% of the time. That's a pretty significant change, and this is the power of blockers. So, what is a blocker? A blocker is a card that decreases your opponent's chances of holding a particular hand because you hold cards that quote-unquote block combinations. Like, let's take a post-block example. If you hold the ace of spades on a 3-spade boards, well, even if your opponent makes a play at you, you know he can't have the ace-high flush. And why is that? Because you have the blocker. You have the key card that's required to make the ace-high flush. Blockers will change the way your opponent's range looks, making certain holdings more likely and other holdings less likely. For example, in the last hand, having the queen and the jack decreases his chances of having a pair, but it doesn't affect his chances of having ace-king. Holding an ace would decrease the chances of him having both aces and the ace-kings. Now, if you're not a math guy, understanding the generals of this concept is enough to help you. Just don't ignore it completely. And if you are a math guy, understanding this stuff is really going to help you add to the value of your decisions by key percentage points, which is really going to add up over large trials in the long run. So, blockers can apply to pre-flop situations, decreasing your opponent's odds of having a premium hand because you block them. And they can apply to post-flop situations, making monster hands like sets, flushes, straights, and full houses less likely because you hold blockers that decrease your opponent's odds of having those key cards relative to all the other cards they can be holding. Remember, our opponent, when we're analyzing, doesn't just have a hand, he has a range of hands. I'm going to go through a couple of examples very quickly just to make this concept a little bit more concrete. And after that, I think you'll be well on your way. You can just take it and go. So, first let's look at how much holding one blocker affects your opponent's odds of having a pair. So, we have an ace, and we want to know how it affects the odds of our opponent having aces, which we know initially has 6 combinations. There are 6 ways to make aces. If we hold the ace of spades, suddenly, instead of 6 ways to make aces, there are only 3. That is ace of hearts, ace of diamonds, ace of hearts, ace of clubs, ace of diamonds, ace of clubs. Instead of 6 ways, because our opponent can't have ace of spades, ace of hearts, ace of spades, ace of diamonds, ace of spades, ace of clubs. Right? So, holding one blocker decreases the chance of your opponent holding that specific pocket pair by 50%, 3 instead of 6. Now we're going to look at how big the effects of holding one blocker are when we're looking at an opponent who we think has a premium unpaired hand. So, how much does holding an ace decrease the likelihood of ace-king? Again, we have one blocker. Well, if we hold the ace of spades, there are only 12 ways to make ace-king instead of 16 ways. I'm not going to go through all the ways to make it, but we removed ace of spades, king of spades, ace of spades, king of hearts, ace of spades, king of diamonds, and ace of spades, king of clubs, leaving the remaining 12 combinations. So, what does that mean? Holding one blocker decreases the chances of your opponent having an unpaired hand by 25%. And it's not just ace-king. If we have the ace of spades, we block ace-queen, we block ace-jack, we block ace-10, ace-5, ace-ace. We block a lot of different hands. And this is why, having a blocker is totally going to change the way that your opponent's range looks, because certain hands become 25% or 50% less likely, which means the other ones become more likely. Now, I wanted to do one more example showing the effects of having 2 blockers, but as you can see on my slide, I've run out of space, and I think it would be of great benefit for you to do some work on this yourself, since it will make you understand the concept infinitely better than just listening to me talk about it. So, your exercise is to determine the effect of holding 2 blockers on your opponent's chances of having a premium hand. Think about king-queen, which hands it blocks, and how much that changes it. How much does having king-queen decrease your opponent's chances of having king-queen? And you know what? Fuck it, we won't just do unpaired, we'll do paired hands too. How much does holding 2 sevens decreases your opponent's chances of holding 2 sevens? Feel free to post your results in the comments, but please do not post your work, as I don't want to spoil the fun for anyone who's doing this themselves, and hopefully all of you who are watching this video are doing this exercise. Alright, and that is going to wrap up this episode of Project Get Me Stackin. I hope this concept benefits you in your poker endeavors, and that I broke it down in a way that was easy to understand. If I didn't, I'm sorry. I'll try to do a better job next time. I hope you found this video insightful and informative, and if you haven't yet, please don't forget to subscribe to the channel by clicking the link below, or the link that's going to pop up in about 30 seconds right about here. As always, this has been Evan for Grips.com. Saying peace.
Yeah, we get it stackin'. Grips.com's how you had it, get it stackin'. The flops I be smashing, the pots I be blasting. Grips.com.